Hi guys, I just wanted to pop in and talk about a small topic. I think it might not be a very long video, but I wanted to highlight the importance of keeping an open mind when you are in your recovery process. So, I think there are two components to the recovery process. There is one which is very methodical because when we think of OCD or generally any other mental illness, because it's related to the brain, we tend to think that the recovery for this or the cure for this, there's a difference between recovery and cure, and there's a separate video on that Kirsty has done as well that you should watch. We think that the recovery tools for it would be related only to biology and science and medicine, all those very, I would say, procedural fields or processes. But we do not tend to think that there might be something more philosophical to the entire recovery process. So, and that's very, very important to keep in mind for all of this. That's why whenever we talk about recovery, we talk about perspectives, we talk about fears, and we don't often realize it's part of the field of psychology. So psychology is not just about treating the brain or your mental illnesses with again with medicine or procedures, but it's also to do a lot with shifting the way you think, which involves the more philosophical process. If you read Albert Ellis's books, How to Stubbornly Refuse to Make Yourself Miserable and The Myth of Self-Esteem, both of those books clearly mention that OCD recovery requires a philosophical approach as well. That's what CBT and REBT, both pioneered by Albert Ellis, were incorporated philosophies of the old Greeks. Like Stoicism is a big part of CBT and REBT and how that can help people recover. So that's the background that firstly I wanted to give on why it's important to keep an open mind. And then secondly, I think when you keep an open mind, it's also about acknowledging that whatever beliefs that you have, or whatever values or morals that you identify with, always keep in mind that there are other perspectives to it. Think of it this way. There are, 8 billion people in this world currently, if I'm not wrong. I think the last I checked, it was 8 billion people. And every single person in this world probably thinks that their beliefs or their values or their experiences are the correct one. This is the right way, and this is how things actually are. And but do you think that really gets anyone anywhere? Do you think that's actually true? Sorry, there's a fly. But do you think that's actually true? If you met somebody who had the complete opposite views of what you have, you would really clash, and both of you would be saying, "I am right, you don't know anything, you're wrong, this is how things are." And that other person, from their own perspective and in their own right, are equally justified just as much as you are in believing the way they do. So, like I'll give my own personal example. I think what has, even before I started OCD recovery, even before that, what has always been beneficial for me personally in my life, not just recovery but at life in general, even when it comes to handling relationships or friendships or whatever there is, like I have my own set of beliefs and values, but there is always that, you can say, footnote in my mind when I think about my beliefs and my values, that yes, I believe this, but there are other perspectives out there. And especially, this is very important to remember, and that I might be wrong or incorrect or inaccurate about the way I think. Now, when you have that little footnote in mind, it does two things. Number one, it liberates you from that pressure that you exert on yourself to always be right or always prove yourself to be right and always make other people think that you're right. It lifts that pressure off, honestly. I mean, if because there were certain things, there used to be certain things that I used to be very rigid about, and the more rigid I was, the more I disturbed my own self about what other people did or thought. Um, so it lifts that pressure off, and you're more at peace with not just yourself but also with how other people are. And the second thing that it does is that it it helps you build empathy and compassion, because those are two very very important things to have in life. Generally, you are able to see things from other people's perspectives, you are able to look at other points of views, and when you are able to do when you have that tool, it is it really really enables you and allows you to have a healthy relationship with yourself and with other people, and with the world at large, to be very honest, because you acknowledge that you are not the center of the universe. The world does not revolve around you. Honestly, it really does not. And rather than taking that as something self demeaning, take that as a reality check, as something to keep your ego in check, as something liberating for that matter, because then you don't take yourself that seriously in a good way. So yeah, there was that, and I think there was something else that I wanted to. Yeah, so the other thing that I wanted to point out about this was that you are when you're able to do that in terms of the recovery process, you are able to look outside of your fears. You are able to see the invalidity or the irrationality of your fears, because unless and until you're not able to do that, you will stay caged and stuck within your fears. So it is very very important to look outside of them, because if you are generally rigid about your beliefs, then you will also be rigid about the fact that no, my fears are correct, they are true, and I have to stick to them and I have to abide by them. So yeah, it's really important to look outside of them. I think that's what I just wanted to cover very briefly, and just talk about why it is really beneficial to keep an open mind. Oh yeah, just one more thing. I also wanted to just quote an example as well, that the people that I have met in my life who do have rigid belief systems and who do not keep an open mind, obviously there's no compulsory rule or necessity. It's not mandatory for you to keep an open mind. Sure, you can stick to your beliefs and values, and you can be as rigid about them as you want to be. But then also it's a good idea to weigh out the pros and cons of doing that, because the people that I have personally met in my life, aunts, uncles, cousins, friends, also had some relationships like that where people were extremely, extremely married to their belief systems and their values. Those are the people who were most bothered all the time as well. They were most bothered, they were mostly disturbed all the time, they were mostly anxious all the time. And I did not personally see them happy or content or at peace in their life. They were always like very frantic. And so where are the pros and cons? Look at people around you who are that way. Look at them and see what kind of life are they leading. Is that the kind of life you want to lead as well? That's a good perspective to look at it from, because that's how and that was my motivation, in fact, to change the way I approached myself, my beliefs, other people, and their experiences. And I made it a point that I do not want to be like these people. I do not want to be perpetually anxious and frantic and just also ill-tempered at times. More often than not, rigid people are also ill-tempered as well. So I did not want to be that kind of person. So, and it has really, really, really helped me, because like because then I don't fret over what another person is saying or doing, because even if I might disagree with it, even if I might really dislike it, fine. I mean, they have, like, I have the choice to do whatever I want, they have the choice to do what they want, and you can be at peace with having those differences rather than grinding your teeth about it. So yeah, looking at other people to gain that perspective of whether rigid beliefs do you good or not. I think that's also one good way to look at it and move forward in life. So yeah, this was just an impromptu video. I did not really plan on this specifically, but I really wanted to talk about it because this is something that I encounter every day on the Facebook groups, on the WhatsApp groups, even in my own life. There are obviously certain beliefs that I'm still challenging and trying to keep an open mind about. This is true for all OCD themes, but I think especially with harm or sexual orientation related themes or taboo related themes, this does become a very, very important vehicle for your recovery process. So yeah, so that was an impromptu video. I hope this helps. I hope it does. I hope it makes sense. I hope I was comprehensive, because again, it was unplanned. But yeah, take care of yourself and keep an open mind. Think away. Bye.